Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new, welcome here. My name is Melissa and my channel is all about psychiatric drug withdrawal, reactions, and recovery. I had my own very long and very painful journey off antidepressants, benzodiazepines, antipsychotics, anticonvulsants, and it was probably the worst thing I've ever experienced in my life. It took me 4.5 years off my first drug to feel like I was recovering, although I did have a complicated and horrible reinstatement partway through that journey that complicated things and made me then go into what I believe was a subsequent withdrawal. So my timeline is a little confusing. If you want more information on my whole story, I have made full videos on this channel about my story and about my reinstatement story in a lot more detail that you can check out. Now that I'm feeling so much better, I have started to coach people. So if you're interested in chatting, I do offer a free 15-minute consultation, 30-minute calls, 60-minute calls, and I offer them at lower rates than other places online. I have also put together 4-session packages for people who may want to meet a little bit more regularly, and I offer those at a further discounted rate. I will put the link to my online booking calendar in the description of this video, as well as a link to my website if you're interested in checking out more of my bio on there, as well as you can book sessions through my website too. So onto this video, I had a request about talking about what does the recovery process or journey look like, and how do you kind of go about living your life despite being uncomfortable. And so I'm going to answer this as best as I can. So when people ask me this in coaching and when I self-reflect and think about my own journey, the process of recovery for most people, I would say more than 95% of people that I have talked to, both as clients, coaching clients, and in my long journey, talking to my own supports and being on the forums for years and all those things, that most people have the windows and waves pattern of recovery. So what this means, and my definition of it is, windows are when you have a simpler time and when you feel bits of hope, or when you feel memories or glimpses of your old self and things just flow a little bit better and become easier. I don't believe that it means you're symptom free, because most people, if they're waiting to be symptom free in a window, they can become full of despair and hopeless because they're like, I've never experienced a window, meaning they've never been asymptomatic. But I don't define it as asymptomatic. I define it as how I just defined it. And then a wave is when things kind of crash and you go into a lot more of severe symptoms. It depends for people. Some people become really sort of disabled and non-functional. Other people just have a really hard time coping with mental, emotional symptoms, whatever it might be. They still may be able to work, but things just they're a lot more white knuckling their days. So that's how I define windows and waves. I personally don't believe that you need triggers to go into waves. I think it's just a part of the recovery process of the nervous system, is to go in this up and down non-linear pattern. There's, I think, one person that I can think of off the top of my head that had a more linear journey. And then there's some people who just have no windows at all, just wave, 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 and then they have a very fast recovery. Even people who go through the windows and waves pattern can still go through a rapid recovery in a short amount of time. That was pretty much what happened to me. But that is, I would say, what 95% of people or more experience, is the windows and waves pattern. As far as getting through those times, and I guess how to somewhat live your life. Again, there's a wide varying degrees to this and what this looks like for different people. It depends on what stage you're at. I break up the stages into acute, subacute, and protracted. My own definition is acute is when your suffering is pretty much 24/7. You don't get a lot of relief in symptoms, maybe a blip here and there, but really your days are quite difficult, to say the least. And it's typically, again, these are just averages, the first year or the first 6 months off meds is typically when people are in acute. Again, that varies widely, but that's sort of average. Subacute is what I consider when you're not in protracted, which to me protracted is 2 years off and beyond. So you're kind of in between acute and protracted. Subacute, you might be getting windows and waves. It might just look different for you. It's just kind of that in between stage. And as far as coping, I mean, the number one way to cope through this is support and hope. I mean, I just had to tell myself over and over and over and over again that this gets better for people. People do recover from this. This is not a permanent injury. I just need to figure out how to sort of live my life or try to live my life despite the symptoms. Now, again, when they're really severe, you're in acute, you are literally in survival mode. And that is when you have to draw from your support as much as possible. And there's a few other things that I recommend. Again, this looks different for different people, but I consider there to be sort of 3 tiers of support that are ideal. So, and you don't need to have all 3 of these tiers to recover. I think it's just the most optimal. So the first one is online support, and that would be in the form of healing buddies. So people who are going through the journey at the same time as you, maybe they're the same gender as you, maybe they're the same age, same drugs, same time off the drugs, same place in their tapering journey. It just depends on sort of what you're looking for, as long as the interactions are positive. Then the second type of support is online support from someone who has recovered. So this could be chatting with someone on a forum, although a lot of the people who have recovered have left the forums. It could be in the form of a coach or a mentor, just someone who has come out the other side where you can draw hope from when, especially if you have a few of you that are chatting and you're all in your healing journey, maybe having a mentor come in. I had that in my own support group. And I've talked to others that I have clients who have experienced, maybe they've gotten a few of them together who are going through the journey, and then they have a mentor or a coach that they draw from. The third one is real life support. And typically this is someone who's physically there for you, whether they're providing financial support or emotional support, physical, whatever it is that you might need, although they probably don't understand exactly what you're going through because they likely haven't experienced it themselves, but just to have someone physically there for you. And again, you don't have to have all 3 of these levels of support in order to recover. Sorry, my nose is itchy. It's just the most ideal. So that is really important, to have someone or some type of group of people to go to help you through this. And hope, you have to maintain that hope. You have to keep telling yourself over and over and over. Some people are visual people, so they will put as the background on their computer or their phone healing stories, or they'll have post-its around their house or reminders or printouts of success stories that they put on their fridge or whatever, and you're just constantly drawing from that support. I really, really do think it's vital to get off forums. Once you've discovered what is going on with you, which, a lot of people in my experience and in talking to others, they don't have support from the medical community, or they don't even understand what's going on with them. And then they search online, Google, trying to figure out why all of a sudden their health is declining. Then they come across these forums and they're like, oh my goodness, this is what's happening to me. That was my experience. But then once you've done, enough reading and sort of understood the process, the best thing to do is exit the forums. I have talked to numerous people now, and again, it was my own experience when they came off the forums and stopped reading horror stories and going down all of the toxic rabbit holes. It really did shift their mentality. Obviously, it's not going to completely lift their symptoms. It's not that simple, but if they can just get out of the negativity, the negative mindset, and the hopelessness that those forums display a lot of the time, it really is helpful for your well-being and through your journey through this. So those are some of the things. Also, if you are someone who experiences windows can be a bit of a double-edged sword, because on the one hand, you can experience bliss, you can experience almost like a spiritual, I don't want to call it an awakening, but a spiritual experience, where you just feel blissfully happy on cloud nine. You feel like the presence of God or whatever. I've heard people describe it differently. So you have that. You also have this renewed hope because you remember what it feels like to be normal, or you just feel happiness again. You don't feel anhedonic. You don't feel akathisic, whatever your symptoms are. And so it's a really good thing. But then a lot of people will become afraid of, when is the wave going to crash over me again? And so if you are someone going through that pattern, then draw hope from the windows. Remember that one day that will be your whole reality, is how you're feeling in a window. So that's really important to draw from as well. And so it can be difficult too, because most things when you recover in life are linear or somewhat linear, but this process is all over the place. And so it can really play with people's heads, and it can really be difficult to cope with that unpredictability. I talk people through that all the time. And so I tell people too that you need to listen to your body, because there's a lot of people who when they're feeling the windows, they want to really re-engage back in life again. They want to do a bunch of different things, or exercise, or do a bunch of social stuff, or do a bunch of work around the house, or remodeling, or cleaning, or computer work, or whatever it might be. And then they'll say, oh my goodness, I did too much. It was too much stimulation and I crashed and now I'm in the worst wave ever. So I always say to people, like, really listen to your body. And this is a rebuilding process. As much as people maybe don't want to hear that, it really is. And that doesn't have to be a negative thing, because people will say, oh, I used to be this high powered whatever. I used to be able to work multiple jobs and raise my kids and run a house. And now I can barely, be home alone, or whatever it might be, or drive my car. And I tell them, you will get to a place where you can do all those things again, but in the process, you have to take things slow. It's sort of teaching your nervous system to feel safe again. It's retraining your brain. It's just having the drug changes that have happened because of these drugs calm down and rebalance. There's a physiological aspect and mental and emotional and spiritual. It's really a multi-pronged process, I guess is the best way to say it. And so listen to your body. If you've been doing a lot and maybe you've had a few days long window, and you kind of have that gnawing gut feeling like I maybe should slow down. And just maybe the next time you go into a window, it's not that you need to become afraid of windows or afraid of normal everyday activities. It's just a mindful curiosity, because we don't want to, be always white knuckling and I'm afraid to eat this and I'm afraid to go to a birthday party and I'm afraid to drive and I'm afraid to. Again, the forums can really be toxic in this way when you're reading people's stories of, oh, I was put into a wave from eating bacon or from smelling my neighbor's barbecue or cleaning with bleach or driving my car or whatever. You don't want to fill your mind with that. You want to just listen to your body. Nurture your nervous system as much as possible, but stretch it when you can. If you're feeling positive, you're feeling okay, push yourself to do one new thing or one old thing that you haven't done in a long time. Monitor how you feel. If you're feeling okay, just maybe do another thing. If you're like, oh, you know what, I'm just going to take a rest now. It really is a rebuilding process, and it's try not to be afraid of it. Just trust it. Trust the process, as difficult as that might be. And again, if you're having trouble trusting the process, this is where it would be beneficial to talk with someone who has recovered. Or is almost recovered. So it really can take you, it can give you hope for a long time. I know it did for me, just speaking to a mentor and just trusting the process. Even when I couldn't really wrap my head around it, I had to just try to fill my head with it as much as possible until it sunk in at a gut level. And once you get windows, that can easily help, you to believe it and renew your hope and all those things. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely a very, very, very difficult journey, but it's a process of trusting and of, testing your limits, but also it's good because you can really become self-aware in this process. I know for me, I've become much more self-aware of my limits. I used to be someone who was, an alcoholic, a workaholic, I binge eat. Everything was just black, it was all or nothing. I was just push, 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 push. And I never knew how to limit myself. And I never did a lot of self-care. And even now I struggle with it. I tend to be an overachiever and want to push, push, push. But I'll start, I'll remember where I used to be. Or for me, I've shared again, my tinnitus came back when I got COVID. If I notice it's flaring up a little bit more than usual, I'm like, okay, I might just be doing a little too much. I might be on my screen too much, working too much, whatever. And I just scale back. It doesn't solve everything, but it makes me more aware that I need to retune back into my body. So this process there's good things that come out the other side of it. Self-awareness, you do tend to take a lot better care of yourself when you're through this because you've been through hell. You appreciate things more. I get that there's a trauma component, but there's ways to work through that. And also naturally, when the symptoms start to fade, the trauma of it starts to fade. I still have health anxiety and medical anxiety, still working through that. It's not nearly as bad as it was, but there are after effects. I'm not going to lie, but it's not paralyzing me anymore. On my fear of caffeine and I used to be afraid of everything, nail polish, personal care products, everything. And it naturally kind of fades over time. But there's nothing wrong with getting therapy or talking to a therapist to sort of work through these things cognitively after the symptoms have abated. So there's that. And Yeah, it really is. There really can be positives that come out of it. I think you can become the healthiest version of yourself when you get well, again, because you pay so much more attention to what you put in and on your body and what you expose yourself to and the people you're around. And it just doesn't become worth it anymore to spend your time with toxic people and doing sort of toxic things afterwards because you have a new appreciation. I mean, I even hear this from people, my clients, who are starting to recover and are getting nice windows. They'll say, my God, like I just feel so appreciative and so grateful, and I'm thanking Jesus or God or the universe or whatever. I'm having like what I feel is a spiritual experience. I'm embracing my family. I'm, all these positive things. So I just want to give you that hope as well, that it's not all trauma and you're afraid of everything when the symptoms go away. It really can change your life in a positive way too. So there's that. And let me think if there's anything else I want to add. Yeah, those are kind of my main tips. And again, like doing things each day that contribute to overall good health, I think can renew your spirits, and can just help your body along, so to speak. So I always recommend light exercise. So a lot of people are sensitive to a lot of exertion. They have that like post-exertion malaise or increase in symptoms. So nothing hardcore, but like walking, swimming, yoga, Pilates, anything you can handle, and again, what your body is allowing. Getting sunlight as much as you can. If you live in the north like me, it's really difficult in these months. So, and anything you can do to sort of support your body. Eating whole foods is a good thing. Staying hydrated, staying away obviously from alcohol and caffeine, neurotoxic things, MSG, aspartame, artificial sweeteners. Spending time with people with healthy nervous systems, I think, is very helpful. There is an exchange of energy, I believe. And, it's natural to sort of look at people and be like, oh, why can't I be normal? And I'm so jealous and whatever. It's normal to experience that. But it's also good, I think, to get yourself around healthy people. I do think it's a positive thing, even if you do experience some of those thoughts. I definitely did for a long, long time. Yeah, so movement, sunshine, healthy diet, being around healthy people, getting as much sleep as you can. Obviously, again, if you're in acute, if you have hyperexcitability symptoms, insomnia can be an issue. But when your body does allow you to rest, rest. Listen to your intuition, spend time with pets, general things. And I know people sometimes are like, none of that's going to help. Like, why are you telling me this? But it is cumulative. And I've had clients, again, come to me and say, I'm glad I started, doing these things because I feel like they are helping. Getting into a routine. Your nervous system loves stability and routine and balance. So if you can get up and, make your bed or shower or whatever it looks like for you, just making yourself a, I don't know, glass of lemon water in the morning or reading affirmations or whatever it might be, doing it in the same way in the morning, say, and then building on that. And I've had people say, getting into a sleep routine is healthy, even if they're not getting restorative sleep. Doing the same thing every evening before bed, taking an Epsom salt bath, reading something calming, doing affirmations, meditating, praying, whatever you want to do, and just, shutting the lights off, sleeping in a dark, cool room, just shutting it off at the same time every night. And it really is helpful. Nothing is like a magic fix or a magic bullet, but just do these things, and over time it will pay off. I promise you. What else can I think of? So yeah, the routine. Yeah, those are kind of my main tips. And being mindful of how much time you're on the screens, because the blue light can affect your circadian rhythm. Wear blue light blocking glasses. Just be mindful of stuff like that. Maybe that you never really had to pay attention to before. Also, I've talked in videos about paying attention to your diet, which is not just the foods you eat, but it's what you drink, it's what you watch, it's what you expose yourself to, it's the music you listen to, it's the stuff you put on your body, your personal care products, your cleaning products. All of these things I do think make a difference in the long run. So I'm going to stop rambling now. It's late. It's past midnight. I had such a great day today. I had a great sleep. I'm really feeling good. And these days I like to just kind of relish in the really feeling well. And I'm not just talking about withdrawal, because overall I feel 90% better. But, I have diabetes and I have a young child, and sometimes I don't get the best sleeps, and she can be difficult to deal with sometimes at certain times of the day. And today was just a great day. So I'm just thankful. But anyway, I hope you guys are all doing well. And if you'd like to chat, feel free to set up a coaching appointment. I am not responding to emails as much anymore. I'm kind of going to fade out of that because I just can't keep up. I'm sorry, but I just get bombarded with messages, and I can't. Not only do I not have the time to respond effectively, I don't think it's fair to you either, because it's much easier for me to talk, if you can't tell I'm a talker, to explain what I mean by things that I say. It's just book a free consultation. It's just, if I haven't chatted with you before, it's just the easiest way to do things. And it's, again, I can't answer things as thoroughly over email. I don't have all of the context. Sometimes I'm in a rush when I'm answering emails and I might miss something. So that's what I recommend. Just book a chat and let's just chat. If I've never talked to you before, free consultation, or 30 or 60 minutes. If I have, my rates are much lower than other places. So anyway, I'm done rambling now. I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you next time. Bye.